John, can't find the fishing poles.
That casting joke wasn't funny when you pitched it, and it's not funny now.
Will Greenway says cast members are reoccurring characters who are pivotal to your story. They are people so important that the story problem can't be solved without them.
Films have time limitations, which means that if your film runs an hour and 20 minutes, whether you have 6 characters or 12 characters, you still only have an hour and 20 minutes to tell your story.
Which has much larger implications to how much time you can spend with each character. Not saying you can't tell engaging stories with larger casts, just more prioritization has to be considered.
When writing a story, a writer needs to ask themselves why they're writing the story, and what the focus of that story is going to be. Because as Entangled, if the story is going to be about 2 characters, you need to write the story about 2 characters.
The writers of Tangled knew that the story was about Rapunzel, Flynn, and the growth of their relationship. So when the conversation of the supporting cast came up, they added only what they needed, so as to not take any much needed time and focus away from our leads.
Of the 6 characters in this film, aside from Flynn Punzel that reoccur, I would boil it down to maybe 3 that have any real character development aside from informing the plot.
Pascal is really cool when you break down his character. Aside from his murderous tendencies, he's not really there to serve the plot.
He's really only there to serve Rapunzel.
Or act as another part of Rapunzel's character. In this article by Victoria Grosick, she talks about the functions of sidekicks, and in it she says,
Sidekicks make dialogue easier to write for your main character. The best way to convey your protagonist's thoughts and feelings is through discussion and interaction. Which is exactly what Pascal serves to do. In this blog post by Tangled storyboard artist Mark Kennedy, he says,
Rapunzel was totally alone in the tower. She had nobody that she could talk to about her feelings. Which meant that it'd be hard for the audience to know exactly what she was thinking and feeling.
Initially, they didn't even want a sidekick for Rapunzel. They even wrote a version of the story where she drew faces on everything and revealed her thoughts and feelings to her friends. But that wasn't really where they wanted to go tonally with the story. So, add in a frog and she gets to tell the audience how she feels. Mark also mentions how Pascal gave Rapunzel more dimension. If she was by herself, she would have had to be too one-dimensionally confident in her own capabilities to advance the story.
But with her little green Tamagotchi there to encourage her when she's down, they can add in moments of doubt and lack of confidence, only to be reassured and pumped up by Pascal. What a guy. If only we all had little Pascals there for us.
You got it. You can do it. You're great. Look at you.
So yeah, Pascal doesn't take up too much time. And as for the other tertiary characters, like the Stabbington brothers, they're really just there to serve the plot. We don't really care to know too much more about them, other than their desire for money. And the king and queen, they're really just there for the emotional stakes, to show that Rapunzel was taken from 2 caring individuals.
But they don't really serve the plot, which is cool. And that's as much as we need. No more, no less.
The real care is evident in the supporting cast. Mother Gothel, Maximus, the Ruffians.
The Ruffians are interesting because how they develop those characters. We only see them twice. When we meet them for the first time, and then when they save the day.
How convenient.
But they're able to both introduce and get us to care about the characters all within one song. They have depth because we experience the growth of their motivations.
Initially, we define them using the criminal archetype. We think that they just want to do crime and stuff. But eventually, we find out that they're just misunderstood and want to follow the cornucopia of dreams that they have.
So we're cool with them just popping up and saving the day. Mogoth is a whole other thing, and we'll get to her. But she's also very efficiently developed. Her motivations don't go beyond wanting to stay young, but the level of stakes she's willing to put on the line in order to get that grow and intensify as she becomes more desperate.
And then there's Maximus the horse.
He's your B character.
Established early on in the film, but doesn't join the team until 2/3 of the way through. And he's ultimately responsible for the resolution of the plot.
Like Olaf, Felix and Calhoun, the other hero 4, Astrid, so on.
What I love about Maximus is how efficiently he's developed. He saves Flynn, which is in direct contrast to his previously established motives.
But how do we get there? Makes a deal with Rapunzel, goes on a montage that's not even about him, and then we're there. What?
For this to come off as believable, the character had to be simple. We, the audience, had to believe that he was capable of conceding so easily.
So they made him a dog. If Maximus had been a soldier and as clever and determined as he is, it would have felt pretty cheap for him to just be like,
oh, well, you didn't mention it was your birthday.
But by simplifying his motivations to that of a dog's, he's more quickly likable and believably convinced.
On top of that, these scenes right here are everything for this character, because they quickly and seamlessly change the nature of Flynn and Maximus's contentious relationship into that of a bickering friendship. And that all informs the moment when Maximus is willing to give up his previously established motives for his newfound friends.
So all of that to point out how quickly and cleverly the supporting cast was established and developed in order to leave as much time as possible to get to know the characters we care about most. Aww. Well, there you go, guys. So this is going to be kind of a new format. No more podcasts. But
happening.
Hopefully this is more easily biteable.
Yeah, we wanted to make a series that you could take like points from. Like this one is about Sporting Cast.
Right. So that way it's just more easily searchable than an hour-long podcast.
Yeah, in
about
case you're
nothing.
writing papers or something like that, and you need to quote things, we're going to put our quotes, links to those in the description.
Right.
And
so,
you could even quote this, but we're not
Don't
anybody
quote us,
you
no.
would. It's not.
but yeah,
We're not,
like,
serious.
comment, subscribe, follow us on the tumbles.
Yeah, Instagram's still a thing. I check it a couple times throughout the month.
Do you post anything?
From time to time.
Okay.
If we actually post anything, then I tell people to go watch it.
True.
That's a
True.
thing.
Maybe you should take a picture of us right now. Not on camera. This is gonna be cut, but should we try this again? A little more efficient.
We can change the seating and go back.